all in.
Sorry for no video last week, but I've been planning a trip, and this is it. We're going down to LA and San Diego. First stop is Hustler Casino. We're going to play some 5-5, and then the following day we're going to be over at the Gardens playing 5-5 also. So sit back, relax, enjoy. Here it comes.
Here are some helpful tips for your road trip. You're going to be playing with a lot of new faces. First half hour, study them. Then adapt. Then play your game. Don't get intimidated by the dollar amount, just think in terms of betting units. And if you find a game that you think is too tough, leave. Remember, they don't know your game. Use their perceived image of you to your advantage. And always remember, if you get in a tough spot, just think, what would Zeus do?
We pull into Hustler Casino in the afternoon. They don't have a 5-5 game yet. I had to wait around for about 45 minutes, and finally they get one going, and we start this a little short-handed. The player in the cutoff seems to be the hyper-aggressive type of player. He limps, I raise to 25, he puts in the call, and we see a flop that comes Queen 5-6 with 2 hearts. I decided to check this over to him. Probably not the best play in the world. He bets out for $50. I think he's just trying to take this one down. He could have a small pair, but I just think he's bluffing. So I decided to float him and then maybe take it away on a scare card. Turn card comes as a king of clubs. Don't need to worry about it too much anymore. I'm pretty sure I'm good here. I check it over to him. He checks it back quickly. River card comes as a 3 of diamonds. It does complete a straight, but I'm thinking, well, he either has a queen or nothing. So I decided to bet 125. Looking back on this, I think I should just be checking this and hopefully he'll try to steal it. But he folds and we win the first pot. Same player opens very large to 40. He's been giving away his strength of his hand with his bet size. Ace Jack of clubs is just too good to let go, so I call and so do 2 other players, and we see a flop that comes 9-5 deuce with 2 hearts. Absolutely nothing for me, and when it's checked to me I just check it back. Turn card comes as a queen. It gets checked to the aggressive player who puts in a bet of $105. Big enough for me to leave, and I'm pretty sure that he has a queen. The other players fold out, and he did end up showing a queen. We're still playing a little short-handed, so when I have 10-9 offsuit in the small blind, I'm going to go ahead and defend when the big blind puts in a raise, and we're going to head off to the flop with $95 in the pot. Flop comes out king high with a 9 and a deuce rainbow board. I check it. It ends up getting checked around, which is a pretty good outcome. 7 of clubs on the turn. I think my 9's the best, so I'm going to go ahead and fire at this thing. I bet out for $50. Both players fold, and we win a small one. I'm in the cutoff with ace queen offsuit. There's a bunch of limpers, so I go ahead and put in a good size raise, and I get a bunch of callers. Seems like everyone likes to defend. Headed off to a flop with 105 in the middle, and we get 10-5-4 with 2 diamonds. Not much for us. We're going to just check this. Hope for an ace or a queen on the turn, but it comes a 6 of diamonds. A player fires out for $100, and we are done. All right, this next hand I'm in the big blind with ace-10 offsuit. Player at the end of the table opens for a raise. Get 1 caller. I decided to call. Sometimes I'll 3-bet this thing, but I think it's worthy of a call in this spot, and I'm sure glad I did, because when the flop comes ace-6, I'm in very good shape. I check it over to him, expecting him to c-bet. He does for $25. Naturally, the other player folds out. I'm going to be putting in the call. Hopefully he'll continue with pocket pairs. Maybe just try to run me over. Turn card comes is not a great one. It is the Jack of Hearts. Completes the flush. but I got a 10 of hearts as a backup. I check to him, he quickly checks it back. King of clubs on the end, I'm pretty sure I'm best here, but I think the best way to get value is to check it over to him, see if he'll stab at it, and that's what he does. He bets out for $55. Not much to do here. I don't think he'll be calling any kind of raise, and if I do get called, I might be beat. So I just put in the call, and he mucks his hand. And this is definitely the hand of the day. There is a $10 straddle, and 3 players limp in for the $10. I wanted some action being on the button, so I raised to 80. And the small blind immediately calls for the 80. He's been playing probably the best at the table, so I'm a little bit worried about him. But if he had anything better, he would go ahead and repop it. Big blind also calls, and the player at the end of the table calls as well. And I'm going, wow, I guess I should have made it bigger. They're all coming for this. They're gambling here at Hustler Casino. After the player at the end of the table calls, another one folds out, and then the one to my right, who has been on mega tilt, quickly puts in the call. So the dealer collects the $430 to put in the center of the pot, and we got kings multi-way. Oh, not feeling good about this one, so hopefully we can hit something and hit it hard. But instead we get the flop of 8-6-5 with 2 diamonds. Not a very good flop for kings, of course. And first player did check, and then the next player decides that he's going to bet $80. So what does this $80 bet mean? It could mean that he flopped the nuts and is dying for action. It could mean he's on a draw. My feeling is he's probably drawing. The player to my right goes ahead and slides in the $80, matching his stack, and I think he can have just about anything. Seriously, he could have any 2 cards at this point. Well, it's a decision point. I don't have the king of diamonds in my hand, so there's more likely there's someone with a flush draw. And the $80 bet size to me seems like he has some sort of draw. So I'm just going to go ahead and jam. Hopefully I don't run into someone with a straight or 2 pair or a set or all the bad things that could happen. The player on my left thinks for a very long time, and he finally decides on folding. He later told me that he had pocket jacks. But after he folds, the player acting next snap calls for the remaining of his stack. He started with about $560. The other one puts it in quickly also, and we're going to see a run out which comes a 5 of spades. It's very good for me, and a 2 of spades, 2 complete blanks. I show my kings, and the other player showed 8-7 hearts. Player to my right flashed that he had the 4 of spades in his hand. So he could have, as I said, any 2 cards. We win a big one, $1,760, and that was like the last hand of the day. I had to go visit with a friend. He's an old college buddy I played basketball with, him and his wife. We ended up going down to this music in the park celebration, and it was a good show, and as you can see, he was having a pretty good time. The next day, I headed over to the Gardens Casino. It's actually the first time I've ever been there, and actually I was quite impressed. It's a very large room, a lot of tables to choose from. Here I sit down in a 5-5 game, and about 10 minutes in, I pick up a pair of 10s. There was a bunch of limpers. I raised to 30, and I was surprised that I got so many calls. So we're going 4 ways to a flop with 125 in. Flop comes out king high, king jack 9, 2 hearts. Not the greatest for my particular hand, but I decided to go ahead and c-bet this thing. Maybe I can get someone to fold a jack with a weaker kicker. If they have a king, I'm sure they're going to be calling, and I am blocking the straights. Anyway, everyone seemed to not like their hand, and we win this one with a little $40 c-bet. I'm on the button with king queen offsuit. There was 2 limpers, and I decided to raise to 20. End up getting 3 callers, so we're going to go 4 ways to a flop, which comes out 5-4-3. There are 2 hearts there, so I have a backdoor flush draw, I guess, and 2 overs. But I'm not betting this. I'm just going to check it through. Turn card comes as a 2 of spades, and again, it gets checked all the way to me. And here I can take a small stab, see if someone has an ace. If they have nothing, they'll probably fold. So I think I can go with small bet here and get all the information I need. First player ends up calling quickly, and the player after them also puts in the call. So I know I'm done with the hand. Be just interesting to see what runs out. River card comes, pairs the board with a 4 diamonds. First player ends up checking. Next player ends up betting for $120. Obviously, I am folding at this point, and the other player does put in the call and ends up being shown pocket fives. It's folded me in the low jack. I have ace 10 suited. I decide to raise to 20. Only the player in the cutoff puts in the raise to 65. Now, he's been playing very well so far, so I'm thinking that he's someone I have to be careful about. I can go either way, but I think that he has a much stronger range than me at this point, so don't think I'm going to be folding for that amount. So I put in the call, and we're going to see a flop. Flop comes queen 3 deuce. Naturally, this is one of those times I'm just going to check and surrender. Even if he doesn't have a queen or a pair, his range is probably still stronger than mine, and I'm not going to be putting too much money into this. He fires for $100 after I check, and yeah, I'm just giving this up and give him credit for the hand that he probably does have. Here I defend again with 10-9 offsuit in the small blind. We're going to be going off to this flop with 3 players. Flop comes king 8-6. So I flop a gutter, not much else. It's checked to the player in last position on the button. He bets for $35. I know this is a little bit weird, but I'm just going to use my OMC image here and see if I can win this thing if I don't hit my straight. So I put in the call. Turn card comes as a 4 hearts. Completes a lot of possibilities like 5-7. There's a lot of 2-pair combos. He bets again for $50. Pretty sure he has a decent hand like a king. But as I said, nobody knows me here. I look like an OMC. Sometimes people say I play like an OMC. So let's go ahead for OMC check raise. And for those who don't know what OMC means, it's old man coffee. Someone who plays very conservative, looks like an old man, just waiting for the nuts. I made it 175. He thinks for a while. Actually says, did you flop a set against me? I think you might have flopped a set. And after some deliberation, he flashes that he has the king in his hand and mucks it. So we get away with one. Here I got ace 10 offsuit and the hijack. I put in a raise, get a call from the same player from the last hand. He did ask me what I had on the previous hand. I told him I was bluffing. So flop comes ace 8 4 rainbow. He checks. I fire my continuation bet for $25. He puts in the quick call. Well, the turn card comes and it is a 9 of diamonds. Not the greatest card in the world. He checks quickly. I can probably fire here and take down the pot, but I decided to pot control and check it back and get some value on the end. He checks again on the end. It's time to get that value. My hand may not look like I have an ace at this point because I checked the turn, so I decided to bet $70. So after a very long tank, he decides to make the call. I show my ace 10, he mucks his hand quickly, and we take down this $250 pot. We called a raise, looking to set mine with pocket sixes on the button, and we missed everything. Again, we go set mining on the button, with this time with pocket sevens, and again, we missed everything. The player who's been playing pretty tight opens from middle position to a raise to 20. Get 2 callers. I decided just to call with ace queen suited. It does play good multi-way, and I have position, so we're going to see a flop. And it comes 9-8-3 with 2 spades. So excellent flop. I got 2 overcards and the nut flush draw. It ends up getting checked around to me. So I'm going to go ahead and bet. I'm trying to get maybe someone with ace king to fold at the other end of the table. And I don't think I need to go too large, so I made it 55. Anyway, the player who initially raised in middle position now decides that he's going to be putting in a check raise, and he makes it 185. Of course, this is a very strong move. He probably has some sort of overpair at this point. I don't think he'll be doing this with a hand like King Jack of Spades, because I don't even think you have a hand like King Jack of Spades or Jack 10 of Spades. So he has a pair. Maybe he even flopped a set. The other player who checked now jams quickly. He has 135 left in his stack, and it's back to me. We got $480 in the pot. I got 2 overs and a nut flush draw. Maybe the guy was raising with pocket jacks or pocket tens and thinks his hand is good, which it is. And I got a lot of equity. So I'm going to go ahead and jam, put pressure on those type of hands. Pocket jacks, pocket tens. If he has pocket queens or above, I'm sure he's going to be calling. Maybe he thinks I flopped a set. Maybe I have 2 pair. After a very long tank, he decides to let it go. So after he folds, I make the pot right for the player who's all in for 135. And let's see if we can hit something. I do have some showdown value with an ace. Run out comes 4 diamonds, 9 of hearts. I say I missed completely, and he says he did too. I show my ace high, and the other player had a straight draw. The player that folded said he had an overpair, and that he was worried that I had 2 pair or better. The new player sits down at the end of the table, but before he did, when he came over to lock up his chair, some of the players started talking about him, about his scouting report. And since I don't know anyone, it's good to listen in. They said that he's super, super aggressive, and like when he puts on the straddle, he likes to raise. And he just happens to have a straddle this hand. And it's a $10 straddle. Get a couple players limping. I look at ace, king, offsuit. Normally this is a slam dunk raise. But if the scouting report's correct, I'm just going to go ahead and limp on in with the rest of them and see what he does. Well, he does end up raising. He makes it $50. Player to my right now calls the 50. And now this is, for me, obvious raise. And I want to go big here. If he's as wild as they say he is, he might just go ahead and shove with whatever he has. And I'm willing to flip with him with ace, king from the scouting report that I just listened to. Anyway, I make it $310. Really trying to price out the player to my right who might have a legitimate hand. And if he calls, I still want it to be maybe too expensive for him to come along. Player at the end of the table decides on to be a little bit cautious this time and ends up folding, and so does the player to my right. So we pick up $130 without too much stress. Player in middle position opens up for $20. He'd been playing pretty straightforward. Here I have 2 kings in the hijack. I'm going to put in a raise and make it $70. Everybody else folds out, and the player ends up making the call. So heads up to a flop with 150 in. Flop comes queen, 3 deuce with 2 hearts. Pretty good flop for my hand. I got an overpair and a backdoor flush draw. Player checks. I bet small, $45. He quickly makes the call. So this is a pretty dry board. You either have a flush draw or you have a queen, and you can't have both. So I feel comfortable in my hand. Most likely he has a queen. Turn card comes is a 10 of hearts. He checks again, and I'm going to go ahead and put pressure. Put him all in. He snap calls and turns over ace queen with the ace of hearts. So not looking to make my flush now. Hopefully we just get a blank on the end, and we get a 6 of diamonds. So we take down this pot. A couple of the weaker players are now gone, and a couple of strong players have come to the table. I wasn't feeling my best. I was a little tired from all the travel and had a little bit of a headache, so I decided to pack it up and come back and fight another day. Anyway, we did all right that first day. Ended up winning $1,200. This last day at the Gardens, we ended up winning $830. So we're off to a good start on our trip, and hopefully I can keep it rolling for the rest of the period. And until next time, guys, thanks for watching, and we'll see you back here soon. Good luck at the tables.